Well, let's see who pops on. We're going to give it just a minute here and see. I wasn't planning on doing a live today, but I felt like I needed to get on here and do one because I've been getting a lot of messages. So let's talk about love for just a minute. First, hello, my name is Laurel Houston. If you are new to Body Mapping with Laurel, I am the creator of Body Mapping. Body mapping is a way to learn the message the universe has left on your body to help you know that you have purpose, that you matter, that you are enough. And that is one of the reasons why I feel kind of called to do today's Facebook Live about love. So many people talk about love thy neighbor, love thy neighbor, love thy neighbor, but they forget the rest of it, which is love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay? And we think if we love ourselves, then we're selfish. But then we wonder why we can't receive love or why we're always chasing love. If you think of yourself as a piece of crap, no matter how much service you do for your neighbor, you will do it in resentment and frustration. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay? You can only receive at the level you already have. So I want to explain this in another way. If you have only created a cup large enough to fit this much water, but you want a gallon jug, you have to create the capacity to receive that, which means you need to decide that you are allowed to have that much love. We will not feel more loved by someone else than we feel love for ourselves. And so on this day of love, that for some people is actually quite traumatic, and I'll get to that in just a second, ask yourself, what can you do today so that you feel loved, not by anyone else? What can you do for you that makes you go, I am just so grateful that I am so filled with love right now? It took me a long time. I was in a 6-year extremely toxic and abusive relationship. And one of the reasons I stayed in it for so long was because I just wanted someone to love me, because I thought if someone else loved me, then I could finally love myself. And the reverse of that is actually what is true. Until I learned to love myself, no matter how much someone else loved me, I wouldn't feel it. And so my husband took me out for lunch for Valentine's Day, and the waitress laughed and she's like, all right, y'all, I get that it's Valentine's Day, but she's like, I can really tell you guys are in love. Are you newlyweds? And we both giggled because we actually get asked that a lot. If we just got married, and no, the end of this month, we will have celebrated 14 years and 3 kids. But I allow myself to love myself. And I allow my husband to love himself at the level that he loves himself. And the more I love myself, the more I believe and receive the love from other people. But if I am not keeping my commitments to myself, if I am betraying my own trust, if I am not showing love and respect and honoring myself, then no matter how much someone else tries, I won't feel it. And this is what's so frustrating for so many people, because we all have someone in our life that says, I love you, and you're like, no, you don't. And yet, if they say, well, what can I do to show you that I love you? You can't really come up with something, because the reality is they're already doing a lot of things to show you love. But you can only receive love at the level at which you love yourself. And you can only give love at the level at which you love yourself. You cannot give more than you have. And I'm not going to go too deep into that because I did another video on giving and receiving. So just go to the guide section and click on receiving and watch that. But if you do not have it, you cannot give it. And if you are not willing to receive it, it doesn't matter how many people show up in your life that love you. If you're not willing to receive love because you don't think you deserve it, you haven't earned it, you haven't worked hard enough for it, whatever your story is around love, if you won't receive it, it doesn't matter how other people show up. You have to show up first for you. And this is why I share this. Some of you may have noticed this during Christmas and Thanksgiving, and then maybe around New Year's. And Valentine is another holiday that for a lot of people, it has a lot of sorrow. Being someone who never had a loving, caring boyfriend through high school, through college, on Valentine's Day, I was always alone. I was always sad. I always told myself that I was a less than because I didn't have a boyfriend on Valentine's Day. I always yearned for those flowers that my roommates were getting and my friends were getting, and I just wanted someone to fulfill me in that way. And I remember the first year I went, this is stupid. If I want flowers, I'm going to go buy myself flowers. And I allowed myself to romance myself. I bought myself Valentine's flowers. I bought myself the chocolates. I didn't go to a movie because my roommate owned the movie I wanted to watch. So we sat in our apartment and we snuggled in blankets and we watched the movie. And we didn't do it out of frustration or anger or bitterness because we didn't have dates. We did it because that is what we wanted that night to show ourselves love. So fast forward into my marriage. And when I first got married, my husband's birthday is tomorrow. It's the day after Valentine's Day. And so we had talked about it, and we weren't going to do anything for Valentine's Day because his birthday was the next day. And so Valentine's came and went, and then we celebrated his birthday. And I remember going, no, I'm not okay with that. And so the next year I said, I'm okay with celebrating 2 days in a row. I've waited my whole life to have someone show me love on Valentine's Day. And I know it's not fair that I'm putting this on you, but I would really like to have an amazing Valentine's Day. And he gave me that because I was willing to receive it. And because he had watched me romance myself. So when we go to the grocery store, if I see a beautiful bouquet and I want it, I go get it. And it's really funny because I'll buy myself flowers and then those flowers will die. And shortly thereafter, my husband will come home with a beautiful bouquet of flowers. He needed me to show him how I wanted to be romanced. And so I will make reservations for the beautiful dinner. I will get dressed up when we go out. I showed him how I wanted to be romanced. I showed him the container that I had that was open to wanting to feel loved. So if you are feeling like, well, no one loves me, then today is a day that you get to show love to yourself, because you will only receive the level of love you have for yourself. And you will only be able to give the level of love that you have for yourself to other people. Love thy neighbor is a beautiful trait, but don't forget the rest of it. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And if you hate and despise yourself, doing service is not showing love to your neighbor. It's building resentment, and it's being done in the wrong attitude. So one of the reasons why today is a hard day is because, like myself and so many other people, male and female, men and women, young and old, we've all had someone that we have wanted to love us, and they didn't. And for some people, this day reminds us of all of the people who we loved who didn't love us back. And so I invite you to let today be the day that you give yourself that love, that you ask yourself, what do I need today to feel so special and so loved that does not require anyone else to show up for you? What can you do for yourself? Is it that you go buy yourself chocolates, that you go buy yourself flowers? Is it that you have your McDonald's in the car, but you do it with your hair and your makeup done, beautifully dressed because you just want an excuse to dress up and look fancy and look elegant? Then do it. What is it that you need today to feel loved? And if that is a hard question for you to ask and answer for yourself, here's another way of asking it. Take just a couple cleansing breaths and get into your heart, not your head. Actually, touch your heart, take some breaths, allow yourself to feel your breath. Okay? Actually feel your heart. And then ask your heart, what age or stage, as in a stage of life, for me, like 9th grade isn't an age, it's a stage of life. Some really monumental things happened in my life during that year. What age or stage of life needs to feel loved today? And you'll have a memory, or you'll hear an age or a stage, but an answer will come. And then ask your heart, what does she need? What does she need? And the thing is even if your answer is, she needs to know Dad loved her, then you think of an age or stage that needs to know that your dad loved her. And you, as your adult evolved self, think of a time when he showed you love. And then you explain to her, I know as a 5-year-old it didn't seem like Dad was showing you love at the time, but he was, and this is why. Or you may have her say, I want flowers. So you go buy yourself flowers. She may say, I want to watch a particular movie. So you watch that movie. You call the friend. You do what you can do for you because you are worthy of love and you deserve it. And I'm trying not to repeat things that I've said, so I do want to encourage you to watch the Receive video because it will explain this even more. But I just felt like I needed to get on really quick and say, 1, you can only love at the level you love yourself. You will only receive the amount of love from other people that you will allow yourself to love yourself. And 2, how do I want to say this? You get to romance you. You get to give yourself the love that you want, and everything that anyone else gives you is just a bonus. You are worth being loved. But if people don't know how, because you won't do it for yourself, that's one of the reasons why we really struggle. Women say that they want certain things, but they put all sorts of unexpressed expectations. And ladies, I'll tell you right now, unexpressed expectations will always lead to disappointment. So ask yourself, what can I do to love you more? What do you need today? How can I love you more? And let yourself give that to yourself. You do deserve love. The highest, most unconditional love. So stop putting conditions on the love you have for yourself. People are always talking about how they want unconditional love, and then they have a whole list for themselves before they'll love themselves. Ladies, it doesn't work that way. If you want to really truly understand what unconditional love feels like, then start giving it to yourself. Get rid of your list that says, I can love you when, I can love you if. And just love yourself. You do deserve it. And I love you.